So this is the first episode you're getting after the launch of Pagenerd. And we just want to say we're completely blown away by all the positive feedback, the listens. We've all been just like giddy for 2 weeks. Thank you for coming back. Please reach out. If there's any feedback, if there's books you want to hear, anything at all, it makes our day. And we just hope you continue to love this show.
Share it with your friends.
And share it with your friends.
This is Pagenerd.
This is
Pagenerd. I'm Andrew Corway.
I'm Tommy Guy.
I'm Rick Vieweg.
And this is Pagenerd. There's only 3 of us today because our esteemed 4th host is in France doing vacation-y things.
And it sounds like a lot of fun, and we miss her, but are very jealous of her as well.
The pictures of her meals that she's sending us look phenomenal.
So the book we're reading today is Murderbot, or the book that we've read and are going to talk about today is Murderbot. Murderbot was one that we wanted to discuss because it gets a little bit less on the science, a little bit more on kind of the future state of humanity and how things can kind of exist in the future.
Yeah, I really liked the misanthropic aspect of the Murderbot himself. Like, they clearly didn't like humans, didn't understand them. All of his observations were looking down on humans, but then also having panic attacks nonstop about the emotions humans were making him feel.
I like to think of Murderbot as a cat.
Yes.
We've bred this thing that is like kind of neurotic and also kills things.
Except cats don't come with a governor module.
That's true. All right. We should probably explain what that is, but we'll get to that.
Andrew, your cat doesn't have a governor module, do they?
Yeah, mine does. It's food. I think we should touch a little bit just on the gender of Murderbot. In the novel, Murderbot is formerly it/its. In my mind's eye, I was picturing Alexander Skarsgard because I was watching the Apple TV show. Alexander Skarsgard presents as he, him, and that was my frame of reference. So that was my terminology, and that's the pronouns that I'm using. But I just wanted to call that out, that it's not intentional to misgender or anything like this. It's just that was just what I was picturing when I was bringing myself to read this novel. But I wanted to call that out because in the book, I think it's important to call it that the gender formally in the book is it/its.
Is that like a statement of gender, or is it just a statement that like this is a machine and it doesn't have gender?
I picked it up as porque lo nos dos, could be a little bit of both. That's up for interpretation. That's the beauty of books.
I sort of pictured this androgynously. I have not seen the Apple rendition of this, so I didn't have a character to go off of. I kept thinking like David Bowie. I don't know why. Like David Bowie, but really strong.
Like Stardust one?
Yes,
yeah. Stardust?
So like David Bowie, which is like exactly that, like very sort of fluid interpretation of gender. So I think I'm going to stick with it. I think it works.
We'll let our own interpretations fly from here, but I just think it's good to call that out, just for any listener who had a different interpretation of that.
So we start the book in kind of like a bit of an action scene, right? So Murderbot kind of introduced themselves. They're a lethal robot, but they've hacked their governor module. So usually they would have to follow their programming all the time, but instead Murderbot is able to act of their own volition. And one of the things that they do to keep themselves from turning into a deranged Murderbot that only wants to kill is getting really into what they call serials. So like they've downloaded a bunch of media off the media web, and they kind of go through this media as often as they can, very into a particular show called Sanctuary Moon. It's on a mission, even though it doesn't technically have to be on the mission. It's still working so that it can kind of fly under the radar. And it's protecting some crew members that are out kind of doing some surveying of this planet to see if it's worthwhile for them to make a higher buy on it.
Okay, but pretty early on, it's interesting, the book kind of hooked me with, we're in the mind of this robot. The robot is very, just like cynical, like super lazy teenager. How soon do we learn that it refers to itself as Murderbot?
Right off the hop, calls itself Murderbot. It doesn't say
I could have become a mass murderer.
Yeah.
That's how it starts. Okay. And we should say, we normally say there are spoilers. There will of course be spoilers, but we are only going to spoil, I think, the first half of the paperback edition of this book, because it's actually 2 books and we're only going to talk about the first one.
Oh, I didn't know the paperback was 2. I've only read All Systems Red.
You should have bought the paper book. You get 2. You also get something called Artificial Condition.
Ah.
Murderbot is a series of like 6 or 7 books, and you can kind of tell with the storytelling here.
Yeah.
The way that the arc kind of progresses, you're like being introduced to this robot character, this android character.
Yeah, and the first book very much feels like it could be the intro to a longer book.
Yeah, we are thrown into this, I guess, would you call it dystopian world?
It's kind of alluded there's a dystopian kind of corporate structure out there in the universe. At the very beginning, they're establishing that they're extremely isolated.
Yes.
If you're getting into trouble out here, not a lot of help coming. Hence why you have a robot that can help you when you get in trouble.
Why is it always like mining is the thing we send out in these sci-fi books?
Got to get those resources, Tommy.
Like, what was it, Avatar? Avatar was what was going through my head in this part, right? Like, you're just like out on some planet being like, let's exploit the hell out of this thing.
Absolutely. That's the whole point they're there, is like figuring out what they can exploit on this exoplanet.
And there's some giant snake that pops out of the ground and is like, fuck you. You're not exploiting me.
Yeah. So it straight up eats one of the guys. The Dr. Barawaj gets gobbled up. Like one bite, this thing eats it up. And so Murderbot goes and yanks the doctor out of the mouth and jumps in instead, pulls out its big gun and boom, right down the big worm's throat. And the big thing is they had no idea that this giant threat was going to be there. So whatever surveying data they were given from their corporate entity didn't allude to there being a giant creature there that was going to destroy them. So Murderbot gets 20% of their organic parts ripped out of them, so they're all messed up. But they end up saving the two other scientists to bring them back to the base safely.
And that was, man, Andrew, you had some word for this of like they sort of selectively disclose things. And one of them they disclose early is like, oh yeah, by the way, Murderbot's a robot that has human parts. I think maybe that's what I like about this book. They didn't world build basically at all.
Yeah.
They just throw you into an action scene and you slowly learn, okay, we've got a sassy robot that's half human, maybe, I don't know, that has biological parts, whatever that means.
Yeah.
But not like, once upon a time there was a planet.
That's a hallmark of good storytelling, is that they don't just info dump on you, right? That's like the opposite of what you're describing. But through the story, it's revealed the piece of information that you need that is kind of relevant to the plot, but also hinting at the bigger world. Martha Wells does that extremely well in this book, almost to like, because the book is so short, you're like, this book could have been much longer. She really cut a lot of superfluous stuff. And I think that's why you have such a tight read.
We should talk in this section about the face.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we talked about Murderbot having organic parts, the way that kind of is first surfaced to us is when one of the characters is going into shock after being almost eaten by this giant worm and seeing someone nearly get devoured. So Murderbot puts down their visor to kind of show the human face so they can relate and calm this person down, is the kind of reasoning that Murderbot gives. So it's revealed there's a human face behind there. And what Murderbot calls out when they do this is that if the monster came back, this would be a terrible move. Like, this is not a good thing for a Murderbot to do, but it's like trying to save these people. And the way it needs to do that now is by being a relatable human face. So that's kind of how it's revealed. And then later on that these organic parts are like leaking and need to be healed is how we figure out that there's more than just a face.
I guess that means bleeding.
It's specifically called leaking in the book.
I
don't know what's leaking, but something's leaking out for sure.
I don't like it.
He has the repair booth. So I think the term leaking is used because it's a little of column A, little column B, like a little bit of like mechanical fluid, a little of human guts. And it's not clear where the Murderbot ends and the human begins.
Yeah, I guess we never know this, but how much of Murderbot, we should call it, but it's Sec Unit is the official name of this thing, the security unit. How much of Sec Unit is human or is like biological? I don't think we know.
No, they don't tell you like the ratio of machine parts to organic parts.
I have a theory, by the way, on why it needs human parts.
Oh, well, we're just about to get to that. So going through the flow a little bit further here, we're introduced to Dr. Mensa. They're like the leader of this expedition. So Dr. Mensa has a little more insight into Sec Unit. All the other people haven't really worked with the Sec Unit before, so they didn't really know what to expect. Dr. Mensa kind of was briefed on this. They're the one leading the mission. So they know a little bit more about how to interact with the Sec Unit. Everyone gets back safely, and Sec Unit finally gets back to its little cubicle where it can heal up. And it says, while it's doing this, it doesn't have time to do like a full recovery or full rest. So it's just like looking forward to watching a show for a little bit and zoning out. Like it says, it doesn't want to watch anything that's going to be too exciting. Like wants something you can watch just to zone out while its organic material gets healed up. And it says Dr. Barawaj is going to do the same sort of thing, like in a different area. They're also in a med area getting healed up, going through the same kind of organic healing process.
When was this written? I forget. I don't know if it was written like pre like LLMs or post LLMs, but I spend my days training models and obviously I'm going to think about this some in this book. A big problem right now in like intelligence is it's too expensive. Like we're like paving Texas and reopening coal power plants to give you cat videos, and that's not scalable. And there's this field of kind of esoteric at the moment research called DNA computing that is basically, what if we could use like a biological system to do computation? And so the feeling is we're pretty efficient at thinking. Our brains use a lot of calories, by the way. They use like half our calories or something. But like, yeah, we don't eat that much. We definitely don't eat a whole power plant. And so maybe Murderbot, like the way it can be a Murderbot that survives for like, decades on basically a single charge, is that it's got a really efficient computer that is human, that is like using brain matter. But you got this weird thing, right, where it kind of leaks out. It is no longer a dispassionate tokens in, tokens out machine learning model. It's like, it kind of thinks too much, maybe. It's neurotic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if they hook up the organic process to be fed strictly by electricity, and that's how like it gets away with this. Because I don't think Murderbot has to eat, so I don't know.
Murderbot doesn't eat.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's like you said, this good energy source they can use to feed.
I think you're right.
Material.
I think it's like a battery, hooked up to your brain, but the brain is clearly augmented with maybe like a neural network, silicon neural network. I don't know. It's interesting, like interplay.
Yeah. Yeah, because like in the course of the book, Murderbot keeps talking how cheap the company is. They're trying to reduce costs as much as possible. So like, I think you're probably onto something there, Tommy, because instead of taking machines and making them more human, which is costly, can you just take the pieces of human that we can grow organically and that we have 7 billion of, and then bring them closer to the machine parts that we need to fulfill tasks and stuff like that?
We are so going to get sued. But like, if Sam Altman could get a whole bunch of monkeys and feed GPT-5 into the little monkey brains, he would do it.
It's way easier to make monkeys than GPUs.
Yeah. It's way easier to make. Honest to God, there's more monkeys right now than there are GPUs.
Yeah. And the thing is, so what they say in the book is that Murderbot's organic pieces are made from cloned materials. That's how they get around the ethics side of it here.
I'd get around the ethics side. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's an explanation for what's going on here.
Yeah, putting a governor module on an organic being. Who knows?
What happens? Okay, we should talk about this thing more. But I think, what happens is like, there's a little thing in the back of your head that like, if you think a naughty thought, it just zaps you.
The governor module, to some degree, I think is like based on Isaac Asimov's 3 laws.
Yes.
Isaac Asimov authored I, Robot, by the way, just like years and years ago, and kind of established the rules of robots. So the first rule is you can't injure a human being through action, so you can't attack. But also if humans get to fall off a cliff, the robot can't not do something. They have to run and try and help. The second rule is they must obey the commands of a human, unless it counteracts rule number 1, which is to save a human. And then the third rule is the robot must protect its own life, as long as that doesn't conflict with rule 1 or rule 2. So I think the governor module is like a way to instantiate the rules. And I think it's a clever way to kind of like turn the rules almost into this nefarious thing where like it's now taking away the free will of this clone.
And they specifically call out what the governor module does as punishment, right? Like Murderbot says, I'm getting punished by the governor module if I don't follow what it wants me to do. It says it can no longer punish me. And later on in the book, they get into kind of what this punishment looks like. And it feels like a weird being stuck in limbo, like being kind of turned on and off at random, being left alone. Like it seems like the punishment is this weird dystopian version of like isolation, like being left in isolation kind of seems how it feels.
Yeah, what does it mean to punish something that can't feel pain? It's clear Murderbot craves stimulation, right? They're like always watching TV.
Yeah, and that's like the only way they can keep themselves from going mad, it sounds like.
Yeah, this thing will go completely off the rails if it can't watch bad television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very relatable.
I think it ties back into a lack of purpose as well, right? So like Murderbot talks about killing kind of being its purpose. That's all it's really programmed how to do. So part of the punishment is not having that purpose anymore, right? Like not being on a contract, not being on a mission, not having anything to do, and not being able to watch these feeds would be kind of the worst state for Murderbot's life. So kind of Murderbot wakes up after being down and healing, and they get summoned into a meeting room. So Dr. Mensah calls them in. Murderbot at this point goes through and tries to put its armor back on, but it's like covered in blood and guts and stuff. And it's like, well, I can't wear all of this bloody armor because it'll freak people out. So,
oh yeah, it's like, it's weird. It like changes the skin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. So it puts on some regular clothes and goes and walks into the crew quarters where it's been summoned to. And the crew doesn't know how to react to this. They didn't know that Murderbot had like a human looking exterior. So one of the first things that one of the crew members says to it is like, who are you? Like, what's going on? Why are you on the ship? And Dr. Mensa knows that this has a human side because, again, they were briefed, but no one else does. So the crew is all surprised to see that Murderbot is kind of presenting as a human. They start talking about what happened with the data, like why the mission went sideways. And that's where we get into Murderbot scanning through the data they were given and seeing that this creature that attacked them wasn't part of that data. And as they dig more into the data, they find out that there's a bunch of stuff that's missing. So like Murderbot says, essentially, the corporate entity that gave this to you is cheap. Like they just like don't necessarily have good data, but also looks like entire pieces have been removed from your data packet that you received. So kind of the next step they get into is going and checking into why this data is missing.
It's very interesting that, you know, they're in this like sort of corporate overlordy environment. Corporations are obviously like running whole planets, and they're cheap. Like they're like Dollar General of, there's another sponsor gone, Dollar General of like mining companies.
And one of the things they get into is that like no one on the crew wants Murderbot there, but like the corporate overlords or the corporate entity that's backing this thing needs the Murderbot to be there to like make sure that everyone's secure, but more like it's an added charge. So like they have to have a Murderbot on their team. So they have to pay to rent this Murderbot unit. And also the sec unit is recording all of the conversations they have and sending that back so the corporate entity can sell it. So at the end of the day, like you said, it is nickel and diming, and it is like just about selling these upgrade packages for them to go and even run this survey in the first place.
The reason why Murderbot is understanding these discrepancies is because he hacked his governor module, and he's constantly monitoring the new information that's sent to the base just to stay on top of it and make sure that they're not going to like figure out that he's quite paranoid that he's turned off his governor module.
Yeah, if they catch him, they'll kill him.
If they catch him, they'll definitely kill him.
Yeah. Okay, actually, this just clicked for me. Because you mentioned this again, like why is Murderbot on this mission? And it's to keep his crew alive. And that was not a choice they made, right? It was like came as part of the package. You have to pay for a Murderbot. Because of the insurance, they call it a bond in there. But basically, the company, I think what happened, this is like, you know, you want to go and mine some new place. You sign up with a company who's willing to send you there and willing to write a life insurance policy on you. But in exchange for the life insurance policy, they can send a bot along to keep you alive. And by the way, that thing is spying on you like all the time. We basically got rid of all like consumer protections. Elizabeth Warren lost. I feel like this is like, we're like one step. Okay, we're many steps removed from this, but we're not that far in some cases. Like, I think that there have been plays in the past where like, if you're willing to install like a box on your car that says how fast you're going, you can get cheaper insurance. Like, this is exactly that, but for murder.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think it makes sense from a money perspective too. Like the incentives.
Yeah.
The incentives make sense, right? Because you, Tommy, let's imagine you're going off to this planet. You need to be confident that you're not just going to be left there, right? So like, we know we have a cheap ass company. So having a life insurance policy that the company has to pay out ensures that they're motivated to bring you back alive. It is dystopian, but it actually is very transactional to you. Like the contracts feel very real. It feels like it really does feel one step removed from like the insurance ads that you see on the television with the phones.
This was like a highlight for me of this book was the like pure cynicism in the bot about like, you know, look, the company, because there's even some discussion of like, hey, there is missing data. Nobody told us about the mean worms. And like, you know, is the company out to get us? No, probably not. It would cost them too much money. It's like, oh no, that's exactly how a company would think.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the other things that Murderbot goes through is like, there's way easier ways for them to get, like, they wouldn't even have made it here safely. Like, they control all the systems that got you here safely. If they wanted to do off the map, it would have happened way sooner in a more efficient way.
Yeah, right. So it's like, okay, it's not the company. Something weird is happening. We'll get into more of that. But like, it's not the company because it is not in their financial interest, which is what they care about. It's like, oh yeah, that checks out. Some things never change.
And I think that as a story makes it interesting because I don't know, there's a lot of stories out there that's like the corporate overlord is trying to do some fuckery. But here they've taken that off the table.
Yeah.
Here the corporate overlords are indifferent, which is like maybe a different type of evil or maybe a more accurate form of evil to like real life.
Yeah, and it seems even more than just like overall corporate ambivalence. It really feels like the corporation is disconnected. And some portions of the corporation want them to survive. Some are ambivalent. Some are nefarious. Like it seems like all the different departments, just like in any major corporation, like they all have their own different motivations and quotas to meet. So it's not necessarily one big corporate
They've
overlord.
got their independent spreadsheet. This is a company that is trying to avoid an insurance charge by sending a robot that will kill you on the mission, but it can't kill you because of Asimov, but it can protect you.
And they get some free data along the way. So I mean, you always want to mop up that data.
If it also happens that we can like front run your mining contract because we see the data, like well, we had to keep you alive.
It's just icing on the cake. So this is where we get kind of introduced to the other team on the planet. So we're introduced to this team called Deltfall. So Deltfall is this other surveying group that is larger than the one that we're working with. The one that we're working with is Preservation Ox, and we get introduced to this new team called Deltfall, which is on some far removed part of the planet, and it's a larger corporate entity, or it's a different corporate entity backing them, but it's a larger surveying team. So they have 3 sec units over there, and Dr. Mensa reaches out to them to see if they can send their data over to see if it has the same holes. And they kind of figure out that it does. So now that Deltfall has confirmed they have the same bad data as us, we need to go and figure out what's going on with this data. So the team decides they want to go out and explore, and Murderbot says that they have to go along to keep everyone alive.
There's this interplay where the Murderbot, first of all, he or she knows some things are bad. Bad ideas, things like that. But because, it's got this governor module turned off. It's hacked it. It's turned it off. But it can't let other people know that it's turned off. And so it's playing this sort of 3D chess with itself of like, well, they're about to do something stupid. But if I say it's stupid, then they're going to know that I'm rogue. So I got to let them do the stupid thing. Hopefully it doesn't, kill them, but I got to let them. And I think this was one of these moments of like, you really don't want to be traveling halfway across the planet in your like helicopter or whatever you have. But I can't say that or else you're going to kill me. You're going to turn me off because I'm rogue.
Yeah, the book kind of gets around that with them being surprised that Murderbot looks like has some human presentation. Like obviously they don't know how a sec unit is supposed to operate.
Exactly. Yeah. The Murderbot is way too paranoid that it's going to get caught. Like these people don't really know anything about you. This feels very human to me. Of just like, I am the center of the story and everyone's watching me. It's like, no, dude, no, they're not.
Everyone's paying attention to their own little bits.
They're not. They don't care about you at all.
I really like the character of Dr. Mensa because in all of this, you start to get the sense she knows not only just like more about the lay of the land with the corporate entity, but like she seems to have some insight into the humanity and inner processes of a Murderbot. She's definitely protecting Murderbot at this point. Like you can tell the way that she's talking about him to the rest of the staff that she really feels like you can build a rapport. So I got the hint that she realized that there's benefits to building rapport with your sec unit in maybe ways that the others were naive with. Dr. Mensa, I thought was like a badass character. She was just like unflappable. She may be flappable, but she handled situations like a leader. So you can understand why she was put there.
So they have this thing called hoppers. They have 2 hoppers. They have a short range hopper and a long range hopper. They haven't used the long range hopper. They haven't had need to. So they use the short range hopper for this one, which they've used a bunch. While they're in the hopper, Murderbot rides up front with Dr. Mensa. And during the progress of the flight, Murderbot's like listening into the rest of the crew that's having a conversation in the back and realize that's getting a little more endeared toward them. Like they're just regular people trying to do their job. There's nothing nefarious going on. So we kind of get a little bit of empathy expressed from Murderbot towards these people, where Murderbot might not like them, but doesn't show like an endearment towards them, but does show that like they're worth saving, I guess. So they're flying this hopper around and the autopilot that's supposed to be keeping them on track kind of flickers out. And thankfully, Dr. Mentz is sitting awake at the controls and is able to see what's going on in front of them. And there's a mountain right in front of them that Dr. Mentz is able to avoid. So that's another like tick in the box for something weird is going on and wants these people dead.
But once again, like, is it weird or is it just incompetence?
Yeah, exactly. Is it just that the autopilot isn't very good?
Maybe it's just bad autopilot. Yeah, remember they sold us the cheap one.
It starts to come up that the map region that they have is also like not, the data is incomplete. Is that because they got like an outdated survey and they missed a mountain somehow? Or is it something more nefarious happening?
By the way, have you guys ridden in a self-driven car yet?
I'll be honest, I'm terrified of those things. Like, I probably get over it eventually. Like back in the day when they had like elevator operators because folks were like scared to get in the elevator and like go to the floors. That's one of the reasons they had the operators. I feel like I tried one in Austin and it had a monitor there, like a dude in the front passenger seat with like a kill switch that they have their thumb over like the window down button. And apparently that's like the kill switch. Yeah, it's like it's a kill switch. So I did that, but it wasn't fully autonomous. And it was a little unnerved. I think I'm too nervous to actually get in a car and have it drive.
Oh, yeah. Rick, have you seen these yet? Did they have these in Winnipeg?
No, of course not. No, I have not been to one yet.
Man, I would have flown into the mountain. I love them. I get in the back seat and I just like to zoom out. I'm gone until we get where we're going. There is this moment of panic though when you're like at a red light. So you're sitting still in an electric car. There's no noise, right? You're in an electric car, and your body realizes we're not moving, and I'm in a car, and I get this like slight panic of like, am I supposed to be doing something? It's like, no, you're not. But I would like totally. I'm the person. I'm not Dr. Mensa. I would just be like on my phone and fly into the planet.
Even in one of those cars, you don't have control to express, Tommy. You're just like sitting in the back.
I think there's a button I can hit. I don't know. I don't know what happens if you grab the steering wheel. They get really mad at you. They also get really mad at you if you have sex in the backseat. I didn't have sex in the backseat, but this is a thing that happened a lot in San Francisco early on. It's like, I mean, people are going to people. And now they like, if they detect this is happening, they turn on the lights. Don't have sex in a self-driving car.
I feel like this is where the corporate overlords have gone too far. Okay. If I can't have sex in the back of my self-driving car, what are we even doing here?
Well, okay, you do whatever you want if you own the self-driving car. It's a taxi.
I guess if it's a taxi, that's kind of gross.
Ooh,
actually.
It's gross. Yep, it's gross. Also, I wonder if there's an equivalent to the traffic cone trick on in Murderbot's planet. You know the thing, you can put a traffic cone on the hood and it stops the car. Anyway, we should keep going. Okay, so we've missed the planet. Sorry, I keep getting us way distracted. We missed the planet.
We've missed the mountain. So the team lands, they split up, and essentially Murderbot determines that their own internal map is still accurate, but the version of the map called from Hub System is not accurate. So the version that they have is like out of date, and what they're seeing around them on their version of the map doesn't align with what's actually on the ground. So Murderbot has this accurate map, and the crew has this inaccurate map.
What's Hub System again, Rick? I don't recall.
Hub System is kind of this link to the overall corporate system, it sounds like. And Hub System kind of is meant to give up-to-date information and overall monitoring for what Murderbot's supposed to be doing. Again, since the governor module is hacked, they don't have to listen to Hub System. But usually Hub System would be like controlling Murderbot. If it wanted to, it could take over direct control.
It's like the nervous center, like the brain of the whole, like the place they live and the machines they're in and each other. It sounds like there's this thing like a feed that humans can also watch.
Yeah, the entertainment feed. That's where it downloaded all of the
No, there's like
from.
There's like a bigger feed, right? Because they're like Murderbot's always like listening in on the words are literally listening in on a feed and can hear like communications in other rooms.
Yeah, so I think that's, like you said, where we talk about Hub System controlling all of the different cameras and things. That's essentially what Hub System has access over to, is all of the different video feeds and information feeds from the crew, so that it can see if anything nefarious is going on and go and deal with a security threat. But since Hub System has access to this, Murderbot also has access to it. So it can go and look at all these feeds to essentially make sure everything is secure. Since it has a hacked governor module, it can just listen to these feeds and turn them off one or the other. And it says put them on back burner. So like put on a feed and kind of half listen to it is the way it sounds like.
Okay. So the Hub System had corrupt or incorrect information, but then Murderbot in the local system was, he could tell.
Yeah. And there's a couple of times, they want to like send a patch, send an update over the network from some other planet. And I think there's at least once where Murderbot like gets the patch but doesn't install it yet. And that might be overwriting some of their information.
Since it has a hack governor module, it doesn't need to listen to these system updates. So what it kind of says that it does, it'll get a system update and it'll just put it aside, and then it'll go through and sift through the code and implement what parts of it wants to. And that's like, it can only make these decisions because it has a hacked governor module, but it still needs like some up-to-date information sometimes. So it does like sift through and install updates, but it doesn't do it immediately as soon as they come through.
So once again, like the B- corporation is a plot point. Like, is this just a B- corporation or something bad happening?
So now they've established the kind of Murderbot has up-to-date information, but the crew doesn't. They decide to head back to base. Once they get there, Dr. Mensa tells Murderbot that the Deltfall team has gone quiet. So something has happened to Deltfall, and they need to head over there and figure out what's going on, whether that's rescuing the team or just seeing if there's a communications issue or something like that. So they're now prepping for this larger mission with the information that their data is not up-to-date or necessarily relevant.
Can I just say really fast that the whole to me in this book is the names. I think they're crap.
The crewmate
Deltfall.
names? Oh.
Deltfall. Come on. I don't know. It's not that good.
I think they fit with the B- corporate thing, right? Though, like,
Oh.
Deltfall doesn't sound creative, but like, would a corporate dude?
But hold on, who names them? I thought that you got to name your own group.
Yeah, I think that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So somebody was like Deltfall. That's me. Yeah, that's.
Well, see, what they happened is there was probably two corporations that merged, Tommy. So there was like
Oh
Delta
my God, that's what
Extreme, and there was like Fall Wars, and it became Deltfall when they combined together. So they had two
Yes.
cool names that became this.
$1 million was spent on a logo.
Wait. What are you talking about, Rick? If you have one cool name and you merge with another cool name, how is the result not cool? That's just math, isn't it, Tommy?
4X cool name.
Yeah, 4 times as cool.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I feel like that's how like corporate types think, though, right? Like,
It is. Oh, Deltfall is 100% a merger of two things. Like, you're totally right. We're gonna learn soon that there's another group on the planet called Grey Chris.
spoiler alert.
Come on, once again, shitty name. This was like Grace and Partners and like Christoph and Sons, and then they merged, and then like they hired BCG or somebody, and they were like, "This is your name now."
Grey Chris.
Like, just shitty enough to be real corporate dystopian entities, you know?
I thought at first I was like, "Is this author lazy?" But you're totally right that this is just like faceless corporate entities formed from mergers over centuries.
If Martha Wells doesn't
Yeah, I
have
love
a Word or Google document outlining all of the intersection between these corporations, I'd be very surprised, because I do feel like all of these kind of like very minor, creative, like doofy corporate decisions, I feel like she thought them through. I feel like even though we don't get into a lot of detail necessarily, the stuff that's there is packed full of like these kind of real feeling,
good.
like futurism. It's like realistic futurism or something.
I love it when authors, like Tolkien was famous for this, when authors just go way, way, way beyond what they need for the book. And then the book is just this like projection of a fully formed world onto a single story. She nails that in this book.
Yeah, it's the 10% of the iceberg, right?
Yeah. But the iceberg's there in this book.
So they now realize that Deltfall has gone dark and they need to go and investigate. So this is the point for them to pull out this long-range hopper. So again, they haven't used this hopper since they landed on the planet because they haven't had need to. There's no reason that you'd need to use this long-range hopper unless you're going a long distance. So they get this thing out. Some of the crew decides they go with, and some of the crew has to stay behind. Murderbot figures out through one of these feeds that Dr. Mensa is leaning towards leaving Murderbot behind to keep the crew safe. And Murderbot essentially makes a case for itself to have to go. So some of the crew get on the hopper, some of the crew stays behind, and they head out towards Deltfall. On their way there, Murderbot discovers that the satellite feed has gone down. So one of the crew members, Pinley, says that it's been happening on and off since they landed here. It doesn't seem like anything to be worried about, but the timing is a bit weird. Like, it's happened at different times, but the fact that they're like on this long range mission they would never have to go on while they're here on any regular case, for it to be down now seems odd. But again, we get into that like B Corp as to whether or not it actually is a problem or if it's just bad systems. As the crew lands at Deltfall, they can't find any signs of the humans. Murderbot knows there's supposed to be 3 sec units here as well. Again, it's a larger campus, so there's more buildings to go through, but they can't find any signs of anyone alive. Murderbot starts walking around, conducting a search, trying to keep their clients safe. And it like is pointed out here that Murderbot really cares about keeping these people alive because it wants to keep its record clean. It had an incident a while ago where some humans died, and like it won't be able to get a job or continue getting contracts if this keeps happening.
It's a lot of people, though. It's not like, oh, like 6,
Minor
2
incident.
or 3.
How many people was it?
I think it was like 56.
56. That's
Like,
a very specific number too.
Like it's alluded to, like he kind of went nutso.
Like he killed them.
Yeah.
This
he
wasn't
killed
like,
them.
I wasn't watching.
He hadn't figured out watching serials calms him down yet or something like that. Like watching bad TV and soap operas calms Murderbot. I love that aspect of this. Like,
If I don't watch bad soap operas, I'm going to go completely postal.
Yeah. But because he's watching the serials, he understands the humans a bit more.
Like
and
calm and cynical.
yeah, he wants them to live. He comments cynically like, out of all the humans he's known, these ones aren't so bad, except for Gurathin. I think there's one of them that he doesn't really like. It's kind of like a half augmented human that's in the troop, but the rest of them he like respects. He respects Dr. Mensa. Also, at this point, he starts pulling out these cool little drone things. So he has like,
Oh, yeah.
he can see through the drones and kind of do surveillance. So you get the sense like these sec units are pretty, at least this one is pretty on the ball with like actually surveying and getting around like he's making very intelligent decisions, and Mensa's kind of listening, right? Mensa's knows the score too. You can tell she's seen some shit back in her day. Pagenerd doesn't have ads yet. So what we've been doing is giving shout outs to our local libraries and our independent bookstores.
We're going to do a special one today. It's called Woozle's Bookstore, and it's in Halifax, Nova Scotia. They describe themselves as a place for and about children on their website.
Woozle's is Canada's oldest children's focused bookstore. They have adult books as well, but their main focus is children's books.
A thing about local bookstores, just this like always lovely, is the kids section. Like the place where the adults buy books, and there's like the chaos in the corner. This is the store is the chaos, the whole thing.
It's a good way to put it. I think that's a great way to put the kids sections in bookstores.
I love them. And the thing about kids books too, there's so many of them, because they're all like a half an inch wide, and it's terrifying. I recently had to buy some children's books for Andrew's baby, and I'm looking at this sea of books and I'm like, I don't know where to start. So spoiler alert, I got you The Little Engine That Could because it's my favorite. But if I was at Woozle's, I could have just asked any of the staff and they could tell you any book. It's such a lovely idea, and we wish them all the best and all the success. And if you're in Nova Scotia, please go visit.
Hell of a name. Woozle's. It's hell of a name for a bookstore. Yeah.
Woozle's.
So while Murderbot's exploring, they find this dead sec unit, which is surprising because like sec units are super powerful, right? So to have one of these things dead with no other signs of what happened around here, no big creatures or anything like that, but a bunch of dead humans, it looks like the humans were fighting the sec unit and managed to take one of them down. Murderbot still knows there's 2 other sec units out there, continues doing a search, and eventually finds these sec units, and they're trying to kill Murderbot. Murderbot manages to take out these 2 other sec units, and then somehow in the fray gets knocked out. When it comes to, there's a sec unit trying to like jam and stab at Murderbot, and Murderbot's trying to figure out what's going on. It's trying to fend one of the sec units off, the one that's stabbing at it, and it can't really get control of the situation. Something gets inserted into its data port, and that's when Dr. Mensa comes in and is able to take out the other sec unit while Murder takes out the one that was stabbing at it, and then Murderbot goes dark and like gets knocked out.
Whoa. You said something important. There was something they put something in its port.
It's a data port.
It's a data port.
At the back of its neck.
I pictured like a Nintendo cartridge.
Yeah. I wasn't picturing like a USB stick or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Okay.
yeah.
That's probably closer to the extant technology in this world, but I'm going with it. They blew in it and just chunk.
Yes.
Remember what was it? Was it Game Genie? Am I the only old one? Remember Game?
Oh,
what they did is they
Game Genie.
Game Genie this dude.
Game Shark. I used to hack
Yes,
people's
Game Shark.
Game Shark. I used to hack people's golden eyes because you could save it locally to the cartridge once you hacked it.
Yeah.
And at lunch for like candy and lunch money. That was like what I did in high school over
And
lunch.
now you're here.
And now I'm here.
So Dr. Mensa gets Murderbot back onto the ship and does a scan and figures out that this thing's in his data port. Murderbot wakes up and essentially tells Dr. Mensa, like, you've got to take me offline. You've got to permanently kill me. Like, there's something that's trying to override my programming. You've got to, like, just knock me out, kill me. Dr. Mensa thinks that they can save Murderbots. They're not willing to put Murderbot out of commission, and Murderbot takes a gun to itself and shoots itself in the chest.
That's kind of cool. So Murderbot. Okay, so the data port is basically like an override to turn it into like, I guess, what do they call it? Like Killbot. Worse than Murderbot. I don't know. What's worse than Murderbot? Basically make it go completely rogue, like go apeshit and kill everybody. And it's cool that it realizes, A, that this happened, and B, I don't want it to happen. And the only way to like fix this is to commit suicide. Which if you're a sci-fi nerd, Like it's really leaning into the Asimov laws, right?
Yeah,
it's at law
exactly.
3, don't kill yourself unless that would help you do rule 1, which is don't kill humans. And so it's like, yeah, you got to kill me.
This is really, I feel like, where it starts to be like there's a lot of humor in the way Murderbot is like silently judging the dumb decisions that humans are making the entire time. Like, that's a stupid idea. That's a dumb idea. You're gonna leave me behind to this like clearly like gone dark Deltfall base. That's stupid. That's stupid. So even as he's arguing with Dr. Mensa, like, you need to kill me, he's saying like, what a dumb decision the team continues to make. Their judgment cannot be trusted because they're choosing to save my life rather than like, do they not realize how many, if I'm overrided, they're dead in, 5 seconds.
And I've done it before.
56
times.
Yeah.
How expensive are these murder bots? I feel like if you have a robot that goes so rogue, it kills 56 people, just like get a new one. Tell me, like, put it on the shelf. It'll be fine next time. Like, shut up and reboot.
No, Tommy, they can fix it. Don't worry about it. We'll just do a factory reset. Good as new.
Factory reset. What if you like every now and then you get a pre-used iPhone that, like, I don't know, murders you?
Sometimes my iPhone gets like too hot and it's uncomfortable. So I think that probably the same thing.
That's not the same as murdering 56 people.
All right.
Okay.
Let's continue.
So essentially Murderbot goes dark again. And when Murderbot comes to, it's fully healed from the shot and the thing in its data port has been taken out. So Murderbot's kind of recovered and is figuring out what happened. While Murderbot was out of commission, Gurathan, the guy that has access to the feeds as well, like kind of a half-og person, has gone in and went through Murderbot's files, local files, and figured out that, first of all, it's named itself Murderbot, which the crew didn't know. So Gurathan kind of tells them that, says it has like tons of media stored on itself, on its local storage, and it's been watching this stuff. It's gone through 700 hours of Sanctuary Moon. So Gurathan thinks that there's some hidden plot here where it's like, no one could have possibly watched 700 hours of Sanctuary Moon.
This
and
show
so like,
is
it's
so
got to be a
bad.
cover-up for something else. And so one of the other crew members goes and like quizzes Murderbot on some of the plots that happen in Sanctuary Moon, and Murderbot like knows all the deep lore about what's happened before. So it's able to like not prove its humanity, but prove that it is able to like that it's watching these shows and it's aware of what's going on. And actually like that's the point of having all these different media things. So now the crew knows they've got a hacked governor module and that they're deeply into Sanctuary Moon.
It would be freaking terrifying if like the thing that has guns in its arms, you put it to sleep and realize, oh, it calls itself Murderbot. Why? Because it has. Like, oh, and also you're in this world where you're like, something is trying to sabotage us. Oh, also, by the way, the bot they sent us, it killed 56 people.
Could be the hacked robot named Murderbot.
Yeah, this one's called a Murderbot. We're not turning that back on. That one stays off.
No, Dr. Mensa's gung-ho.
Dr. Mintz is like, it'll probably be fine.
I think she reasons, though, that like Murderbot could have killed them anytime if it was hacked or something was wrong with it. And it's the only reason that they're actually alive. So this is probably the Murderbot you do want to trust, despite the like anxiety and fear we have about it naming itself Murderbot.
That is terrible logic. Like, oh, Murderbot didn't murder us yet, so it won't.
But like, if you're Dr. Mensa, so one of the key plot points actually that we probably should touch on is the Deltfall base had 3 sec units. And actually what Mensa and Murderbot killed was 5.
That's true.
Right? So out of all of the sec units that they've come across, this, first of all, the Murderbot's actually doing quite good. It's got a pretty good hit rate.
Pretty good at murder.
Pretty good at murder.
Of other Murderbots.
And evidence number 2, there's sec units. You should separate Murderbot from sec unit. Murderbots are a sec unit. But there's other sec units unaccounted for on the planet. And that's a key piece of evidence why she's like, we probably need this. Yeah, okay, maybe suspicious taste in television and also dark humor and naming itself Murderbot, but it's the only reason we're alive, and I think we should probably keep it around.
So it hangs together because they're like, well, this thing might be crazy, but it's our crazy, and there's something else out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, and earlier they did go through footage where like Murderbot was working on saving the crew, and it wasn't just physically saving Dr. Barahaj that got like physically damaged. It was trying to get the other crewmate out of shock. Like it was having a conversation with them to try and keep them sane. So it showed it had like what could amount to empathy or genuine care for the crew. So they figure that Murderbot at this stage actually cares about their well-being in some capacity, even though it's got a hacked governor module, even though it was hacked, it still like wants them to survive. So it's kind of on their side is where they get to. This is where they trigger their beacons. They have like a distress beacon. They trigger to try and pull the bad guys out.
I have one of those.
At this stage, they're calling the bad guys evil survey is what they refer to them as.
Is it one of those things, those like satcoms that have a big ass antenna?
Yeah, oh, it doesn't have a big ass antenna. It's like the size of like a matchbook, but thicker. It doesn't weigh very much. And yeah, you can hit this button like anywhere in the world. I was in New Zealand one time and I asked a park ranger, hey, like if I hit this button, what's happened? And he looks at me like an idiot. It's like, yeah, we'll come and get you. Like anywhere you want, hit the button.
Yeah.
They have that.
It's amazing to me how much technology that's in this book. This book was written in 2017. I looked it up.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of sci-fi that we've read this season, you kind of like, oh, that's a little outdated. That's a little outdated. I actually think this one out of all of them has actually proven only more accurate as time has elapsed.
That's a really good point.
Even like so let's put, we have robots with Boston Dynamic, the terrifying dog robots, but there's also like exoskeletons. China is actually like a leading developer of exoskeleton type robotics that you can wear that augments your ability. They're not used for a military application. It's actually for elder care, help them get up the stairs and that kind of stuff. But this technology is actually like developing at quite a fast rate.
And 2017 is when the Transformers paper was published, which is sort of the underpinnings for all of modern AI. What we call in the industry, what we call alignment. This idea of we can build a model, but we don't want it to be racist. But that translates to stuff like literally like a governor module, right? Of like, how do we have, an intelligent thing, but monitor it and make sure it doesn't go completely crazy?
So they're trying to figure out what evil survey wants. This is where Murderbot kind of asks whether or not the political entity that's covering off Preservation Ox would be concerned if they died, because like some crews are just like expendable, right? So Murderbot asks up front, if you guys die, like, does the political entity that's backing you really care? And this is where it's revealed that Mensa is actually the political entity behind them. So Dr. Mensa is running Preservation Ox is very important. So if Dr. Mensa were to die, there'd be a critical fallout back at home. So they're not an expendable crew, which wouldn't usually happen. Usually the survey crew would be fairly expendable. So that's kind of revealed here.
This world sucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
It also accounts for why she knows so much.
Yeah.
You don't really understand why she's such a like cool and collected leader, but then you realize like, yeah, this isn't her first survey, and she has political clout somewhere in the universe.
Yeah, and it's like part of their corporate structure overall that someone important has to go on all those survey missions. That's part of how Preservation Ox is run. And one of the other important things that comes out about Preservation Ox is that robots at Preservation Ox are considered full citizens. Not like the rest of the universe, but here, robots back at the Preservation Ox world are full citizens. So it's something they're used to dealing with robots as if they're people.
That was kind of a cool plot point throughout of Murderbot has been used to being kind of treated like effectively a piece of the furniture, which I don't know, Murderbot, you're kind of a piece of the furniture. You're a rental Murderbot. But then on this planet, it's like, no, you have like full rights as a citizen. And that explains why I think all of the characters are sort of willing to give Murderbot, Sec Unit, a chance.
Absolutely. So Murderbot and Garathan go on this quest to go figure out if the camera has captured anything weird that they need to investigate further. And they find out that the evil survey team is called Grey Chris, and it's some third-party entity that has removed information from the maps or paid off the corporate entity to remove information from them. But either way, it's not the corporation directly that is responsible for this Grey Chris team. And they request a meeting with them. So they talk to the Grey Chris team. They figure that they want to go meet up, but obviously Grey Chris is going to destroy them and kill them outright if they just go have a meeting with them. So they got to figure out some plan as to how to meet with them in a way that won't get everyone killed immediately. Preservation Ox has proof that Grey Chris has been misbehaving, right? So that's why they're going to have this meeting to like, Grey Chris needs to get this evidence from them so they don't broadcast it broadly. And basically they send Murderbot in to meet. And what Murderbot says is that it knows they're trying to override it with this new combat structure, and that if they don't override it, it'll give them all the information they want.
I think at some point it does sort of say, by the way, I've hacked myself or something. Like it's helpful for, I think this is called the Nixon theory. It's helpful if you have an adversary for the adversary to think you're crazy. That's what might have maybe thinking it's like, just let them know. They'll think, oh shit, this thing's off the rails. It's killed 56 people already.
And so this is where Sec Unit or Murderbot, informs them that like the leader, Mensa, is a political entity. So essentially, if they kill Dr. Mensa, everything's going to go sideways for him. Like it's not just some person.
This is not going to be simple murder of unimportant people on an far exterior planet.
Yeah, exactly. So Murderbot gets escorted off by this other Sec Unit. The Sec Unit immediately starts trying to override it. Murderbot kills the other Sec Unit. And then Dr. Mensa, because it's going to essentially haul Dr. Mensa back to Grey Chris so they can get the evidence they need back. So the plan is when they get out of sight of the rest of the team, Murderbot kills the Sec Unit, puts on its armor, and grabs Dr. Mensa and like escorts Dr. Mensa back to the rest of the Grey Chris team.
Oh, that's right. It does like a skin change. It like, I'm going to be the other team's Sec Unit because they're all the same.
So this is where you get into the big confrontation. So Murderbot shows up with Dr. Mensa, the rest of the crew jumps them, and they manage to take out this Grey Chris crew. That's kind of the big
end
thing at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Murderbot goes offline, and we wake up on this planet and has been informed the unit has been bought outright, which is very odd because again, they're like rental Murderbot units.
Yeah, this is like coming back to Avis and being like, I'll keep it.
I'll keep it, please. I love this Echo.
Yeah. This Echo with bald tires is mine now. It saved my life.
What a dream. Yeah, so they find out, and essentially because it's back at Preservation Ox homeworld, like they are a full citizen. They can kind of do whatever they want now, but they would work for Mensa is like kind of how it's phrased to it. They can kind of do whatever they want. They have a lot more autonomy than they had when they were a rental unit.
But they don't want it.
They don't want it. So as soon as kind of everyone goes and Murderbot gets some downtime, kind of puts on a bit of a disguise, and it kind of goes and talks to a cargo ship. Cargo ship's also just enjoying entertainment feeds because they're so bored on their long trips. So it shows it's got like all the Sanctuary Moon downloaded. Cargo ship says, hells yeah. It gets to a cargo ship. They leave.
I love that so much. It's like, I'll trade you my like torrents for a ride on you, the ship.
All the Sanctuary Moon you can watch. Yeah.
It's like, oh, hell yeah, I'll take them.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's so weird.
Anything else to say about the finishing action of the book?
So you asked about the climax, Rick, like the big battle. I do think like the strength of this book isn't in that. Like, I think the action's quite tidy. Although I think the action scene at Deltfall was quite good with the drones and Mensa coming in. That was quite, but I think the climactic fight, it was a little hard to follow who was doing what. It was a bit muddled, I will say. So it's not exactly straightforward for how we got there. And I think it doesn't matter that much because the book's strength is in, I think, the Murderbot and the close, tight, small relationship between their anxiety about their face and their place in the world as this kind of killing machine that doesn't really want to kill, just wants to chill and watch Netflix. So that's the strength of the book. But the actual climax itself, I think, was quite like a little confusing. It was a little bit like, wait a minute. Okay, so they sent the beacon, but then I guess that's fine. Then Murderbot killed all the other units. Seemed like there was a lot of plot armor on Murderbot too. Like he was just killing units left and right. However, once you get to like the off world where you actually understanding like this Murderbot has like agency, that's quite satisfying as an ending. I think the real ending, I think emotionally.
I loved the real ending because the bot develops some attraction, right, to this crew, you know, sort of goes way beyond and protects them and leaves them without a moment's hesitation. She's like, oh, wait, I'm going to be bored as hell over there. What do I hate? Being bored. I'm out. I'm going to go seek some adventure. He leaves just like no sentimentality at all about Dr. Mensa, even though like 5 pages ago, you know, it was really willing to go out on a limb for these people. And as soon as it's like, yeah, and your reward is to be bored forever. It's like, I don't want it.
Yeah. It gets back into that lack of purpose, right? Like part of the punishment that it had enacted was that it was going to be confined and going to like not have a purpose, which for this Murderbot is killing and protecting people.
Yeah. It's like, it doesn't love how it gets treated, but it's like, yeah, I'm pretty good at it. It is good at it, by the way. These things fight by like meleeing. Just like, I'm going to run at you and take a lot of damage and take you out first, hopefully. And multiple melees, it always seems to win. So it's like, I'm pretty good at it and I like having a job.
It makes sense that this is like 2 books because if you think of Murderbot's story arc, right? He starts the story, he's hacked undercover but kind of doesn't really like humans, right? Kind of doesn't want to be there. And then at the end of the book, he's invited by the humans and he's evolved a little bit, but he still rejects them. He still goes back to that world. So as an ending, I think it worked because of the misanthropic spin of a Murderbot. Like he just didn't like it. And that's kind of a unique ending, but it's not a complete arc. Like the character of Murderbot didn't end up, resolving the issues of like self-identity and stuff like that.
This book was I think, very good world building book. A very good character building book. Not a good action book. That's okay, because the character building of Murderbot is I think really cool. All right, Rick, take us home.
Bring us home.
All right. So for Pagenerd, I've been Rick. That's Andrew. That's Tommy. And our producer is Jay Cockburn. Up next, we'll be reading Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey.
That'll be out in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.
Join us.
Next episode in 2 weeks.
That'll be out in 2 weeks.
Wait, Sec Unit. You have copies of the repair manuals in your memory, yes?
I did.
You did.
There was a copy in the Hopper's memory, so mine was redundant.
Are you saying that you purposely erased your copy?
Yes.
Is Garatin right? Are you trying to sabotage us?
No.
Then why?
Because I had to. In order to make space for the 19th season of Pagenerd.
We can't fix the Hopper because you wanted to watch a show.
A premium quality show.
It is not even a premium quality show.
Agree to disagree.
It is not worth losing everyone's lives for.
That hurt. Mostly because she was right.